know if we miss the losses, but we miss not having you around in the league. You brought such a distinct and impressive, style of play, and so we miss not having you.
Well, thank you very, very much. Let's go back to the beginning here, because here's a guy from Kentucky. Mom was a huge Kentucky fan, ends up going to Taylor University, playing for Paul Patterson.
Yeah.
And some people behind the scenes tell me you were a great player, but man, you were on the edge a little bit sometimes. You weren't, Paul loved you, but sometimes you got on the wrong side of him. You're a psychology major.
Yeah, I sure did. No, I knew how to.
What
certain players know how to get under the skin of their coaches, right? You've had guys like that where you love them, you love coaching them. I got a couple here, that I love coaching them, love them as humans, love them as people, but they know how to get under my skin a little bit. That's how I was as a player. Yeah, that's how I was as a player for Coach Patterson. I never forget, I said something in the middle of a timeout, in the middle of a halftime. My senior year, we were playing in a tournament, actually in California. It was a big deal because, you're NAIA and you fly out there and you think, man, it's a big deal. NAIA player, you get to get on a plane and actually travel somewhere. We're playing in a tournament. And I just mumbled something back to him, and I'll never forget. He said, "You're not good enough to talk back to me." So I got under his skin pretty good.
What I found out by doing this, did you know that like Mark Turgeon was called Turgeon the Surgeon when he played?
Is that right?
Fran McCafferty was called White Magic, right? Fran McCafferty called White Magic. We went all through that. Did you have any nicknames, or what were you known for? Did you ever pass it at all? Or
yeah,
was
I
it
did.
Just shoot it all the time?
Hey, John, knowing how the elite level passing your teams were, you would have actually approved of my passing. I was actually a willing passer.
Good.
Yeah, I was actually a willing passer. I was one of those guys where I was never the best player on my team. So I think when you're never the best player on your team, the idea of team resonates with you. You understand.
No.
I was one of the better players, but never the best. In college, and I never forget, my dad used to get on me for shooting more. And, and I said, Dad, like the point guard, I was kind of the point guard combo guard. Like, he's better than me. I watch him every day. He goes up against him every day in practice. I was one of those kind of probably utility guards. I could try, I'd try to guard the best player and pass it when I needed to.
Well, that brings me to my next point here, because this is a phenomena that I don't think people understand. Brad Stevens, DePauw University, John Beilein, Wheeling Jesuit, right? Chris Holtmann, it goes to Taylor University, Tubby Smith, High Point, back before they were Division I, Rick Barnes, Lenore Ryan, Tom Izzo, Northern Michigan. I mean, why do you we got some guys in this league now, Jawan at Michigan and Fred Hoiberg at Iowa State, but why do you think that is? Why do you think that we've been able to, small college, have produce such really elite coaches?
It's a really interesting thought. I do think, when you, and your story is so well known about never being an assistant and going right into head coaching, but you worked your way up at the smaller levels. I do think in coaching that there is you can't skip steps. And if you skip steps in coaching, it eventually catches up with you at some point. And there's a training ground that's required of all of us. And I tell young coaches, hey, listen, don't look at me, because no one's going to know who you are for about the first 15 years of your coaching career if you do it well.
Yeah.
You just, so.
How much were you, when you were at Geneva? I asked Matt Painter there when he was at Washington and Lee, how much were you paid at Geneva to be the assistant coach?
I went out there for $26,000. My first job was a GA. And then I went out there and it was 25.5, right at that, full time. And I thought I hit the jackpot.
Yeah, that's big. That was big.
Yeah, that was big. And that was,
that was
that was big.
Yeah, and then you go to Gardner-Webb, which for years was really a tremendous, wasn't it? I think there was a junior college at one time, maybe.
Yep.
Artist Gilmore went there, I believe, and went to
John
Jacksonville. But you went there, and you were willing to leave there, go out, expand, I think, and then go back there as a head coach. I remember playing you at Michigan, and we had trouble scoring. I think we had a pretty good team, but we had trouble scoring against you. You could tell right then that you understood that fundamental right now. Your teams they've always been so good that way. And so, I mean, that journey, don't you think you're right on. If you miss steps, people think they want to go right to the top. You miss steps, you're really getting cheated because it's going to come back around.
It's exactly right. I mean, and you said it. I think you're going to cheat yourself. You're going to cheat your players. I always felt like I was really well prepared, and I give Coach Patterson in the training that I got as a young coach. I went from being an All-American, and then the next year I was washing the jerseys and stuff of players that weren't as that weren't as good as me.
Yeah.
There's the humility that's required in our profession, whether it's working at lower levels or working your way up at a level.
Yeah.
It's just required. And I always felt like, and to Coach Patterson's credit, I always felt like the place that the next place I got to, I was prepared for what was coming. Now, obviously you're always learning, but I felt prepared. And
yeah.
That's so important.
You probably didn't think that when you were washing jerseys. I remember sweeping the floor and doing the popcorn before a game at Erie Community College back in the day. So you then make that step. You go to Butler's assistant, and as things happen strange in this world, you're the head coach there. And my memory, this I was thinking about this when I was watching the other game the other day, watching Kyle Young play against Isaiah Livers, and how you and I were both offered to both guys, right? And who knew how it was going to happen?
No.
And then, as it turns out, in their senior year, they are playing against each other, but instead of Kyle being at Butler, he's at Ohio State, and instead of me coaching Isaiah, right, that Juwan is coaching them, and there they are battling. It's beautiful to see those two 4-year players get it done.
Two terrific players, different players, as you know, but two terrific players. And what a player, Livers. It was funny when we were at Butler, we used to talk about your teams there and your elite teams and how you guys had the ability to identify kids, and then they just got better every year. And Livers is an incredible example. He's a pro, and he's gotten better every year. He's terrific, and so is Kyle.
Now I never saw anybody buy into because he started on a Final Four team. Yeah. Then we asked him to be the sixth man, just like we did Duncan Robinson the year before that, just to get a better flow to our team. Iggy Brazdeikis was a tremendous player, and just to get this thing going. And he was willing to do everything. And he was born to be in that situation right now. Kyle Young's had injuries. He's had all these things.
He started on your Final Four
and now he's there.
Yeah, he started on your Final
he started. He only played. Yeah, he started, and but Duncan Robinson played the minutes. But we needed Duncan Robinson to come off and give us the spark. We needed Duncan Robinson to go in and just shoot. He wasn't hunting the way he wanted. So I made him mad at me because I didn't want him to be mad at himself anymore, because he wasn't making shots. So all of a sudden he shot 41% when he was mad at me. So that we'll take whatever that goes. So, hey, are you allowed to use the letter M at all down there? I mean, have you had to change your vocabulary at all? Can you ever use it? Are you, or are we the school up north? You and I are good friends.
We are.
I'm like shaking your hand before one of the games, and it's like I don't even realize until they start booing poor Andrew Dockage when he gets into the game, walk-on who went to your place, how hated this rivalry are. I mean, you forget about it sometimes in basketball. But
no doubt.
Can you use a letter M up there?
No, we don't. We really don't. You should see the file, the scatter report file I had, Coach, heading into the week of prep. It did not have it on there. At least it had it X'd out. So it's a spirited rivalry, to say the least. And I think I heard you talk about it, John, at one point. You said, there is a difference because you play sometimes 2 or 3 times in a season versus
Yeah.
once. Here, it's obviously it's called the game. And in basketball, during Thad's incredible tenure here, there were several kind of quote unquote rivalry type games, but it was always, particularly as both programs got to elite levels and you were playing in Final Fours, there were just some phenomenal games that I know I observed as a coach. And I think that helps a rivalry. It really does when both teams have success.
Yeah, I think it's really hard. Thad was such a tremendous coach. It took us 4 years, I think, to catch up to them when we got here. Then the games were epic, and they were just like almost every one of our games was just like the game that you had Sunday. And both teams, it's amazing who wins that game. But the truth is, the loser could win the national championship. The loser in football does not win the national championship.
Yeah,
and that's
right.
What's so cool about it, about the great rivalry there. But we may look at it differently. Our fans don't look at it differently. And that's fun part of it. That's really a good way for us to do this. So, I mean, since you have big shoes to fill with Thad Matta, you've done an amazing, amazing job. I love watching your teams play. You come up here in Michigan and get some players too. You always seem to, I didn't want you to go to Ohio State because I said, no, he recruits the guys that we recruit. And we're going to have a tough time getting guys because I think he thinks a lot like we think. And you've done a wonderful job there. And man, just good luck in the postseason here. It's going to be a lot of fun. The tournament, everything. I just wish you had the crowds. I wish the crowd could have been in Columbus the other day for Michigan to win in front of that big crowd, but that big crowd experience, that would have been wonderful.
I do too. I said that it was one of those moments, it's hard to believe as the incredible run that you had and Thad had. I know there were multiple kind of top 15 matchups. It was the first top 5 matchup. And some of that is just kind of how the season's laid out. But I think I'm with you. I wish it would have been in front of, I saw a clip of maybe, it was one of your teams with Trey Burke. It was at your place, and it was just a phenomenal. It was Trey and Aaron and all those good players going back and forth, and just an epic, just the best of college basketball. Really, it was the best of college basketball. And one of the reasons that I left an incredible place at Butler, but one of the reasons I loved coming here was just the quality of games that the Big Ten provided. And you look at what Tom has done and you've done and Matt and so many great coaches who come through here that's built this brand of basketball in the Big Ten. And obviously Thad and Bo and on down the line. And hopefully we can carry it on to have some more of those types of games in league play.
Well, if you want to treat your guards to real battles, show them the Trey Burke, Aaron Kraft game. Show them those games because it was a dog fight. It was a rock fight. It was unbelievable to watch those two go at it, and they actually loved it. But it was a lot of fun, and just good luck to you. Yeah, you're great for the college basketball game, and we wish you the very best.
Thank you, Coach. I appreciate it. It's great being with you. Thanks so much for what you've done for college basketball. I know our game misses you, so we appreciate everything you've done. I really am grateful for the time.
Thanks.